got laid off from my job on Thursday. So 2 days after my 40th birthday, wild timing, wild timing. And this is where I felt like almost like woo, where I was like, this was meant to happen. This was a birthday gift from the universe or, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. So, and I just knew it was what was supposed to happen. And I knew it was time to go full-time Looky Loo. I was like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for.
Welcome. We have another guest on We'll Sleep When We're Dead, and we love it.
This
Thank
is so
you so
exciting. We have Kaitlyn Trabucco, right? She
it.
is the founder of Looky Loo, and this is so exciting because our other two guests were like friends of mine, and I'll explain how I know you, but this is kind of like we're all meeting for the first time, which is very exciting. So thank you so much for
You have
coming on.
entered the group mom chat today.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. I wanted to be here, so thank you so much.
So exciting.
I would love to tell the listeners of how I know you, and then you can kind of like give us like a quick background of what you've done and where you're at, and then we'll obviously like deep dive. But I always like to say like where these guests are coming from, and your story I think is kind of interesting because again, I don't really know you, which is really exciting. Okay, so I think I've said a lot on the podcast of where I've lived, Lucy, but I don't know if I've talked about San Francisco.
Which is crazy because I feel like it was a foundational time for all of us, including me. So...
Yeah, and I feel like I haven't talked about it because it's like not a part of the mom. Well, I guess I had Isla there. I don't know. I was a mom in San Francisco, but
barely.
Barely. Anyway, so before I was a mom, I was deep into CrossFit. I've also talked a lot about marathon running here because that's my new thing, but I'm so intrigued that you still CrossFit, Kaitlyn. Like,
there was a time when marathon running was not Sam's thing and it was only CrossFit, and I was
when you
with
said
her
that,
on it, never did it, but I was in the journey with her.
When you said that, Kaitlyn, I was like, I could quickly turn this into a CrossFit podcast. So I'm going to
like a few minutes in, and we've already immediately brought up CrossFit, and I'm just so excited to talk about it.
Yes. Okay. Good. This is so great. Okay. So anyway, really quickly, I CrossFitted like for 6 years in San Francisco, and your husband Chad and I did a lot of classes together, and he was just like always such that like partner that you wanted to like CrossFit with, and like would. Like, he just was so friendly and, like, invested in what we were doing. And when I took a hiatus of Instagram, and I only have connected with you guys through Instagram. So when I jumped back on, I reached out to him because I learned of your amazing endeavor with Looky Loo. And I was like, oh my gosh, Chad, you've not heard from me in 5 years, but I would love to have Kaitlyn on. So that is like how we kind of know each other, but we really are meeting for the first time. So thank you so much for being here.
You're very sweet. I'm so honored. I've been listening to your podcast when you guys reach out. I was like, this sounds so fun. I don't sleep. You don't sleep. We all can speak the same language. And yeah, CrossFit is like, I could go on, don't let me, but it's just such a social gym. And so you all become family. Like there's just like, they're my people that I would call when I need anything. And so, yes, I'm so glad that you like even had that bond to reach out how many years later and say like, oh my gosh, hi. I love it.
So fun.
I have found that I've moved a lot, and I have found that's when one of like the first things that I have dived into is a CrossFit gym, because my Charlotte CrossFit friends became quickly like my San Francisco CrossFit friends. I mean, I literally, so
Kaitlyn, I need to ask you a quick question about CrossFit because I have a lot, but I am going to ask you this one. Have you ever gone on like a CrossFit trip with CrossFit friends to CrossFit?
Have you, Samantha?
Yeah. I went on a CrossFit retreat for a weekend.
I was like, wait, you're going back to Charlotte. You're leaving the kids with Kyle. You're going to CrossFit with and that's all you're going to do. That's like the whole thing. So I didn't know.
I brought Ruby because Ruby was a baby. No, I brought Finley. I don't know who I brought. One of my children, just so I could breastfeed her throughout. We had like 3 to 4 workouts a day, Kaitlyn. It was so much
Does that sound like something you'd be into, Kaitlyn? Is that like a dream?
You're like, tell me the truth right now.
I need to know.
It sounds so fun until you said 3 to 4 a day. That sounds like a lot. Also, when you add in breastfeeding in there, it just shot you up into a whole nother category. in my brain, which is like, you are one of those girls I would not choose to partner with because you would kick my ass. And then there's just no way that you and I would be on the same, RX level.
No, I don't think you would ever put RX near me, Kaitlyn. Like, that was not I was more like I was a cardio junkie that tried to be a CrossFitter. I was not RXing, but that just shows, like, the community. It really is
The other
amazing.
thing I'll add, so, like, Lucy, like, for me, it's so social, and that's what's fun about it. People try to get me to other workout classes, and I'm like, you weightlifting, there's a lot of downtime sometimes, and so you can stand around and you really create these, like, beautiful relationships with people I maybe wouldn't be exposed to, right? So it's like multi-generational. I have like a 22-year-old in my class and a 7-year-old
Yes.
woman in my class.
Yes.
And like I get to know both of them very well and we will hang out afterwards or we know it we go my very first CrossFit experience, one woman was going through breast cancer. And like, you go into the locker rooms after and we're all getting ready for work and you're just hearing about this woman's life.
Oh my
Anyway, I could
gosh.
go on, but you get
I know.
really, really
It's really great.
close and you're, like, on a team kind of, and so you
Yeah.
just are supportive and you see people go through these progressions and life things, and I could go on, but yeah.
You said that you go to like a 6 a.m. most of the time. Are there a bigger contingent of like moms that are like trying to like get it in hustle wise before the day breaks out in chaos? Or what have you found with that?
I will proudly say I am the only mom at my 6 AM class at my stage of life. There are some women
That's
who have, like, kids
amazing.
in college. But yes, and thank you. Sometimes I say that to myself when I'm, like, lagging behind or just, like, really and I'm like, "I was up at 1 AM last night." Like, give
Yep.
yourself a little grace right now. Or, like,
Yep.
your body goes through so many changes throughout all of life, and, like, I just sometimes have to give myself grace and being like, "I showed up today. I'm here, like, that's all I could accomplish today, and that's
Incredible.
okay."
I love
So
that.
yeah, no, there's not any other at
Oh,
this 6 AM class, but
I'm even more impressed with you
There's
than
so
ever.
much to unpack there when you said a 1 AM wake up because we are will sleep when we're dead. So not that misery loves company, but also like, do you
But
have
but we
I
do.
but we do. It's a theme of our podcast of how we
we're
don't sleep. But
warriors, we're warriors, yeah.
I did intro you with the founder of Looky because that's such an amazing thing that I want to talk about. But I did not mention that you are a mother of two, which is also half of the reason of this podcast, which is why you're up at 1 a.m., which is actually something that I remember talking with your husband Chad about, which I know this sounds similar or stupid, but sometimes you just like remember conversations. I I announced my pregnancy to CrossFit Gym with a tank top that said "working out for two" or like my already in partner WOD, something like so cheesy, Caitlin. Like just
So
drink in the
CrossFit,
CrossFit
yeah.
gym.
So unlike you, I'm a little shook right now.
Yeah, I like walked in with like a sweatshirt on, and then like at 13 weeks when I was ready to tell people, I just like casually took it off and saw who noticed my tank top saying like
It's
anyway,
fun.
so silly.
Well,
But, like,
no.
everyone was so excited, but somehow, because 'cause I'm an open book, I had got to talking to Chad about how, like, "Yeah, this is actually my second. I had a miscarriage," and we kinda, like, went down that route where he was willing to talk to me about that maybe at 6 AM or 4 PM, and so do you mind, like, talking about the motherhood journey for you? Because I feel like I've heard you maybe say that it wasn't the easiest process.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes. I would love to share because it's something to talk about and as I was going through it felt so lonely. And so sometimes hearing those stories of others, like, oh my gosh, me too. And I was just like always desperate to hear other people's stories. So I'll say, because I know we'll probably talk about work and life and balance and everything. I was founding a startup for the first 6 years of our marriage. And during that time, we decided to have kids. And the startup was very stressful, as you can fathom. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's like bring a baby into this chaos. But I think deep down inside, I was terrified of that. And again, when I was younger and we weren't really trying to have kids, I would look for these stories of like moms who are also doing like startups or founding. I mean, like, where are they? Like, and just trying to find those stories and just, I think, was telling myself, like, this feels impossible. And so, anyway, when we started trying to have kids, we couldn't. We tried for 2 years and dealt with infertility for 2 years. And it was by far the most painful, lonely, difficult journey of my life, and I don't wish it on anyone. I think it's some of the deepest pain. But at the same time, we're trying to have kids, and I would like, be on an investor call, and my body would break out in hives, and then, like, because the call was so stressful. And then I would go to my fertility doctor and be like, "What's going on? Like, why can't we do this?"
Yeah.
And so once we sold the company, my very last month at this company was the month I got pregnant. And I
Oh my
think at the
gosh.
time, if you had told me, like, if anyone had told me, "Oh, like, it's probably stress," and I'm like, "Can you just, like, go jump off a
Yeah.
bridge?" Like, I don't
Hi.
The
me.
Thanks
worst.
for coming, but I don't need your advice.
Well, yeah, I would have been like, "There's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out." Like, just it's just the most inappropriate thing to say. Yeah, from my own personal experience now, though, looking back, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I think that played a huge, massive role in it," because I just think there's, like, a lot of reasons now as a older woman, I have gotten more in touch with my body and know, like, the things my body is trying to tell me at certain, like, times in my life, and so now looking back on it, I know it was, like, the stress of the situation that was probably really, like, hurting our probability
Yeah.
of being pregnant. So,
Okay, one thing I want to pick up on there because I'm so curious about, did you ever find any like woman founder mentor that could like talk you through it? Or was it truly like, even looking back now, you recognize like, no, a lot of people just choose not to take that path at that time?
mm, yes and no. Absolutely. If you look for it, they're there. I
Yeah.
think there's sometimes the story we wanna tell ourselves, and so we'll, like, be like, "Up, up, you quit. Okay, that's impossible." Like, I think I was trying to tell myself the story that it was impossible. I don't know why. I think it was, like, a fear-based story I was telling in my head. But there are women out there doing it, and it's amazing. Although, I will say now, and maybe this is relatable content to the 2 of you, having small children, I'm like, we don't have time to mentor others. Like, we are just in survival mode. So, like, and of course, there are mentors. I'm like exaggerating by way of telling the story, but we're so busy. It's so
Yeah.
hard to be like, let me mentor, let me inspire, let's me get on stage and speak, while also being a mom, climbing the corporate ladder, getting dinner on the table, like getting up at 6 a.m. for my own mental sanity to go work out. There's
Yeah.
Totally.
the list goes on.
It's
Yeah.
so
I
it's
also
so true.
It's not a world that I am in, obviously, but I always tell myself, I just want to remember this time for when I'm 12 to 15 years later. If somebody, because I agree with you, I barely have time for a dog, let alone I cannot have that time.
Yeah.
However, I just feel like every time I would talk to my parents about it, they just like didn't remember this time. And so I feel like maybe there aren't founders like, but you are now. And so in 10, 15 years, if somebody is looking when you have the time, you'll be like, actually, no, those 2 years you'll almost be able to remember it as it was just as hard. Because I think as time goes on, you kind of forget, which is crazy.
Well, Sam, unfortunately, we've created a podcast called We'll Sleep When We're Dead. So we now have for all time recorded this time of our lives. So we'll never forget. That's the good
You're not,
news.
like, sugarcoating anything with that title either. It's
I
not like
know.
kids are gonna
No.
look on that and be like, "Mom, was that difficult?" Like, dreaming
No.
of sleep for when you die?
No, no, Caitlin, when we're together, both of our oldest kids will come up and get out, like, if we're on vacation. Every time the two oldest will be like, I slept late, right, Mom? Like, they just want to sleep so late for us
They're
because we've for
so
years been like, it's the
Precious.
middle of the night.
I mean, this weekend, Henry is like, Mom, I'm gonna sleep till 9 on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I was like, buddy, you haven't slept past 6:45 ever. So it feels like that's a stretch. I was like, I would take 7, 7:30, but like let's
Let's
not
not
aim
lie
there.
to
But
ourselves
Anyway,
here.
so thank you for sharing that.
yeah, thank you so
So
much.
you have your oldest, which I think I remember is Navy. Am I right on that?
Yes, good
Okay.
memory, yes. Yeah, yeah.
But then you also have a second one, right? And remind me of their ages.
So they're 6 and 5. So Navy is my girl. She was our fertility baby. And then, whoopsie, guess what happens when you don't have stress in your life and you're not on birth control? One came right after that.
Oh
Like a
my
pleasant,
gosh.
happy surprise. And so Revere is 5. So they're 17 months apart.
Wow. What was that like? What's that like age gap like?
I mean, like, horrible. When you were talking about, like, remembering the hard, like, do you remember when you were postpartum and you had your first or second baby or whatever, and I remember thinking, "Why did nobody tell me this was
Nobody
so
tells you.
hard?"
Mhm.
But then, like, you could never look at a beautiful pregnant woman now and be like, "Just wait, like, it's
Yeah.
going to be so rough." Like, it's just
Yeah.
it's hard to describe the hard, right? And
Yeah.
everyone's hard is hard. But yeah, so 17 months, he was a 2020 baby too, so we're in the middle of COVID, and,
We love our COVID babies. I
Mhm.
mean,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
special.
there's actually pros and cons to that time, right? It
Yeah.
was so scary and weird, but on the other hand, it was also so nice to be in, like, a little cocoon and be like, "Everyone leave us alone," and, by that time too, I think we knew that, like, it wasn't that scary for babies to get it, so it was just, it was anyway, just everyone cuddled, it was great. But yeah, I mean, I would say the first, like, 3 or 4 years were horrible, and
Yeah.
I joke, I don't know if it's truly true, but I think we would have gone for 3 had we not had them so close together.
You anticipated my next question
Just
because
wait
we
for it.
can't
I'm gonna get you
help
there. I'm gonna get you there.
we can't help but ask this question on the pod because Sam and I are so different on this subject.
Oh, 'cause Tam, you have a larger age gap, right, with your 2 and then you had another one?
Yeah, so it's really funny that you say that because I'm, like, intrigued. I wanna know what is it like to have a 6 and a 5-year-old because I have 18 months, but my 2nd and my 3rd. So I have
Oh,
Isla,
okay.
which was
Okay.
2018. She's 7.
Okay, oh,
And then it
fun.
was almost 2 years and, like, 9 months until I had Finley. And then it was also a oopsies. It took us a year to get pregnant, but, like, not fertility issues. It was just like, "Oh, it wasn't happening, it was So when we got pregnant with Ruby when Finley was 8 months, that
Yeah,
was an
yeah,
oopsie. But
yeah.
it's funny because now she's 3, and a lot of people tell me they're like, because I 2 to 3, Kaitlyn, completely ruined me. Like, I'm just breathing. Like, it was so hard. But everyone keeps telling me, I don't know if it's the 2 to 3. I think it's the 18-month age gap. And now that I'm past it, like past that baby, I'm like, they might be right. Because people who have like a 7, 5, and then a 1-year-old, I don't find them to be as or overwhelmed as me.
I was
I
gonna
was
wrinkles,
I
me too, yeah.
that 18-month gap, it's just bananas. It's crazy.
It's
So,
bananas.
but
It's bananas, yeah.
yeah, but now my baby is 3, so your baby is 5, like, you're kind of past the crazy? Am I maybe hopeful?
Oh, yes. I would say
Okay.
once you got, once you get past the potty training and they can fully talk and form sentences and, like, share what they want and, like, you're kinda past the life or death, like, don't fall off that,
Yeah,
Yeah,
thing, or
totally.
don't go out the front door, like that, like,
yeah.
it's they're okay, so now they're 5 and 6, and so I was gonna say, yes, the first 3 or 4 years, hell. Now they are best friends, and they have a constant playmate, and, like, vacations are so sweet, they sleep in the same bed every night, they are just like buddies,
Sweet.
and I don't have anything to compare it to, but, like, I just think I'm like, that part is really it's easy, like, there's everything, like, same clothes fit them, like, everything just is easier, everything, just yeah, so it's
Mhm.
nice.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
Kaitlyn, I'm always the one that wants to hear about the career path too, because I want to hear you've obviously been in tech. You had such a cool career there, so I kind of want to hear about that, hear how you got to founding. So, and I'm assuming this is now your second business that you're working on, Looky. Is that
Yes,
fair to say?
yes.
Okay. So I would love to hear kind of that trajectory and how you got into this kind of entrepreneurial journey because it's so unique and so different than what we're up to.
Yes, because you're corporate
I'm
Lucy, right?
corporate America. Yep.
Okay, yes, yes.
It sounds like such a
Cool.
weird way of saying it. Yes, but yes, I'm in
No,
a corporate job. So
I mean, I will talk about my corporate career too. So, okay, I'll try to be short-winded, but yeah, so out of business school, I founded a company called EduSense, which is a marketplace for educational products. It was like a DIY spot for teachers or parents to sell their own ed tech products, and we kind of I don't wanna say right place, right time because it takes away from our actual hard work and effort, but raised a bunch of venture and were able to scale that company really quickly. And then I kinda mentioned at the end, it started got a little rough and the company just couldn't continue to scale. We weren't hitting our numbers and it got pretty stressful and we ended up kind of eventually winding it down, selling off a few components of it. But yeah, I got really, really, really burnt out, as I mentioned. Like we were trying to have a baby. There was like other stuff going on at the company. We had a bunch of employees at one point and then like, had to go through mountains of layoffs. And so I'd done that for 6 years and I was like, get me out of the startup world as quick as possible. Now I was pregnant and being like, I don't want that stress. Like, I don't want to do with a 10-foot pole. So I think I was 8 months pregnant, I got my job at Twitter, which I loved. I was a product manager at Twitter, and, like, that was a story for another time, or I guess it happened now where, people are always like, "Oh, well, I'm pregnant. I can't change jobs." And I'm like, "Well, I did it." Like, I just feel like it was one of those things where it's like, just go in there, and if they don't wanna hire you because 'cause you're big belly, like, you probably shouldn't be working for that company.
And
Um
technically it's illegal. So like those two things.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Go ahead and ask me about my due date, like, go for it, like, please do." But I think it just, like, it showed, like, really the culture of Twitter at that time, was just so supportive and, like, welcoming of women and fairness in the workplace and, fair paternity, maternity leave, etcetera. So, I started there, had Navy, we were in San Francisco at CrossFit, with Sam. Did that for 4 years until I think maybe the end of the story when Elon took over Twitter, and then I went to Nextdoor. So Nextdoor, like the neighborhood app, and kinda was doing something similar as a product manager there. So I did 2 years there, so that's, like, 6 years in corporate America. And during that time, people would ask me, like, do you ever get that entrepreneurial bug? Like, would you ever? And I was like, no. And then when my Revere, my son, when my baby was a baby, we were jumping around like fools, like as one does, trying to get them to look at the camera. And Chad was like, why don't they make a rattle that just clips to your phone so your baby will look at the camera? And I was like, yeah, why don't they? And I kind of got like obsessed with the idea and was like looking for it, and nobody else was making it. They do make a similar product, but for dogs, and I was like, I'm pretty sure if you can make
That
this."
feels like some white space.
Yeah, I was like, "I think I could sell it to humans." So, anyway, so introducing the Looky Loo.
My gosh, I knew you would have a prototype for us to see.
It's
So,
so
Oh
yeah,
my
so it's a
gosh, that's
rattle, and it, like,
so
keeps your phone, and, like, designed it after a hair clip. I sent it to, like, the hair clips manufacturer, like this, I want it to be ergonomic like that, and then I purposely also designed it because I had my baby at the time, and you're like, always have a baby in your arms, right? So I
right.
also wanted to be able to flip around so we could do, like, a selfie, because 'Cause
Yeah.
you're, like, holding the baby, and you just wanna be like, "Just look," and it was never about an Instagram photo, but, like, as moms, you're just like, you want the cute
Yes,
matching pajamas or the sibling photo
totally.
or,
Yeah.
like, just, like, them not looking blurry, right? And so, anyway, so I went to creating that, and that took, like, 2 years to manufacture, like, to prototype, and it was my side hustle, and as Elon was taking over Twitter, it kinda gave me, like, my own thing to hold on to, like, I just
Yeah.
was and to me, it just felt like way lower stakes than a tech company, right? Like, I was like, I could make like a plastic product and sell it for, Y on the internet, on social media, like, no problem. So I was
And
doing
how
that.
did you okay,
Oh,
can I interject
yeah,
one thing here?
please.
Because I'm curious, like, so you were in this corporate job, you had a side hustle, and you had 2 kids.
Yeah. That's where my
I'm
brain's going.
I'm so curious, like, how did you manage that in terms of, like, where you prioritized your energy? Because I think energy is really, at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
our
Time.
greatest
Yeah.
resource that we either have or don't have, so I'm curious.
Yeah. So people ask me, like, I'll take a side step for a second. People ask me sometimes, like, when do you know to start your own company? And I was like, like, you feel it in your bones, and it's like you can't think about anything else. And to me, Looky Loo, and still does, and I can get to this part of the story, presented a ticket out of corporate America. So to me, it was like, if you can work really hard right now for the next 2 years, I'm making these numbers up in my head, but that was, like, kind of what I was telling myself, you don't have to work in corporate America again. Elon Musk of the world will never come in again and take your company away from you if you can work really hard for these next 2 years. So to me, it was like, and it wasn't full-time, like, side hustling. It was just such a different process than software development, which I was doing in my day job. I would, like, email my manufacturer in China, and, like, 6 weeks later, a prototype would show up on my door, and I'd be like, "Nope, that's not it." Like, I'd, like, send them back the specs, you know? So, it wasn't, like, consistent. That's why it took 2 years, but it was just also, though, always on my mind in a beautiful way, like, not in a, like, "Oh my gosh, I need to do this, I need to do that," in, like, a it was fun. It was my fun
Yeah,
project to think about.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. So it was like you put the kids to bed, and then you start thinking about Looky Loo at night or something like that.
Yes, and I don't know either of your husbands, but it's funny, Sam, because you know Chad, and he is the nicest human being on the planet. He's definitely, like, a creative type, and you can tell I'm more the entrepreneurial, like, logic thinker, and anyway, and so yeah, 9 PM. I'm like, "Okay, Chad, like, what about this? What about that?" And it took, like, maybe 3 days of him being my co-founder, of him being like, "I'm out. I'm out. Like, I can't do this. Like, this is too annoying. Like, your brain is going, like, a way different direction." We got in, like, multiple fights about it, and he was like, "Okay, just this gotta be your thing." So, he comes in and helps out here and there, but yes, it was my brain that was kind of, like, always constantly going here and there, like, it wasn't
Yeah.
always because I'm human and then I needed to sleep once in a while, but, it just was it's fun for me. It was super fun, and it's super fun.
That's amazing. So then when did you decide to make the full leap out of corporate America and
So then I
jump
worked
back
for
into this?
Nextdoor for 2.5 years, and same thing, it was my side hustle, but there were times where Nextdoor would get really busy, and I had to put my side hustle away to the side, and then there were other times where it was slower, or I would get, like, a burst of inspiration on something, or I would, get a TikTok that would go viral and get a bunch of sales, or, like, it would go in bursts, and then, I don't know how woo-woo you all are on this podcast, but, I turned 40 in August, and it was the most magical experience. Like, it just was really special, and I don't know if either of you turned 40 yet, but
We're
We
close.
haven't yet,
We're
but it's
close.
all we've been talking about. We got like 2 more years and we're really looking forward to
We're
I
it.
feel like
really
there's so
excited.
many subjects.
We're
What?
putting so much pressure on 40s because all we keep saying when we're down, we're like, 40s are going to be great. We'll just wait for 40s. 40s are going to be great.
Ladies, let me tell you, it is the best. And I
Okay,
didn't wanna turn
great.
40. I was like, when people would say that, I'd be like, "It's literally, like, just a number. How could it be that different?" It's not. It's not a number, it's a milestone. Like, and I just feel like I stepped into this maturity and confidence and, like, self-knowing because you have so much experience under your belt. And now I feel like there's, like, things you can look at and be like, "I've been through that before. I know I can do it because I survived it 2 other times." And so it's just this, like, depth of experience and maturity and, like, yeah, I feel like this grounding. Anywho, I turned 40. I had the most magical day. Like, I just felt so loved and so known by my community and my friends and family. And then that was on a Tuesday, and I got laid off from my job on Thursday. So 2 days after my 40th birthday. No, wild timing, wild timing. And this is where I felt like almost like woo, where I was like, this was meant to happen. This was a birthday gift from the universe, or, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, "Thank you. Thank you so," and I just knew it was what was supposed to happen, and I knew it was time to go full-time Looky Loo. I was like, This is it. This is what I've been waiting for." And so, yeah, so I can't say I made the full decision, but I was thankful for it because I don't think I would have
Yeah.
ever, like, stepping out of court Lucy, I don't know if you feel this. Stepping out of corporate, like a tech job, a tech salary, tech hours, paid vacation, et cetera, it was too scary, I think, to fully step out of, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad that I got the push out the door.
It's really funny because I haven't had that experience yet. I'm like, it feels like at this point I'm gonna be a lifer in my industry. Feels hard to imagine I wouldn't be. You never know. I might
You never
turn
know.
40 and have another experience, but my husband essentially did just this exact same thing in the last, like, 3 months where he's, like, fully quit his corporate job. Now, he doesn't have his, hustle figured out yet, so and that it's to come, and he's working really hard on it, but there is a total, like, weight lifted because it was so clear that that was not the right path for him, and so just, like, this level of happiness and also circumstances led him to do that sooner than he probably would have either anyways, and so it's so reaffirming to hear other people that have had similar experiences where it's like, it does just work out, and there are reasons that everything happens. So that's amazing.
I feel like whenever I talk to people like you on podcasts, I always just wanna ask you all the questions because I find that so fascinating, and then speaking of side hustles, like, how do you all find the time to do this? And I can just tell by your faces, it's probably because you love it, like, it's probably fun for you.
It's been
Well,
so fun.
when you were talking, because I have 0 things to relate to in the corporate America, being being but even being a teacher, like, I could have been in corporate America for 10 years and then quit, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom, but, like, I can relate to kind of your, like, itch, and that's how I feel like this podcast has been because it's newer for us in the sense, but we kind of kept it under wraps. Like, Lucy and I did this for, like, 7 months, like, recorded every week, talked about our name, was going through like the background stuff. And I told 0 people about it. And then Lucy would be like, I started to just like tell random people to like test it out. And I'm the first to always tell my friends, like, I'm not surviving. The kids don't sleep. I'm a mess. And then all of a sudden, I like blast out that I've created a podcast, and people are like, what? Like, how do you have time? You have 3 kids. You're training for a marathon. Your husband always travels. And I can totally relate to that feeling of like, yeah, at 9 o'clock at night to edit doesn't feel like work when I'm passionate about it. And I don't have an entrepreneurial like itch like you. I'm not used to that. But
But I think you do. You always say that, and I always correct you because I think you have Sam has a TikTok presence now. If you haven't seen her on TikTok, she's
let's
a little bit of an influencer.
no, Lucy, Lucy. But
Just saying.
I can relate to that. Like, there are so many things around my house that have not gotten done today, but like it is a top priority for me to record this podcast. And so
And Sam has a babysitter at her house right now because it's 8 p.m. at night and her
yeah.
husband's traveling for work. So that is like
So
her level of commitment to this, which I think, to your point, Kaitlyn, shows you that like we're really committed and it's really fun. And it's just been like talking to really cool people like you is
yeah.
like the whole point. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
it sounds like you probably have a bigger vision too, right? Like you're like, at some point, I want this to bring, relatability to other moms, or I want it to bring a message. And so, like, it gives you like a fuel that's not
Mhm.
just like do, like I want to do this thing for me, you know?
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. I think like
Oh,
every
yeah.
week we'll screenshot and send each other a text that we've received that some like random person from the stratosphere that you haven't spoken to in like 16 years that's like, hey, I stumbled upon the podcast. I just wanted to let you know how it like so spoke to me because I didn't realize that you had this issue or this,
Yeah.
and so I think that's been a really cool element to it that
I'm
we're
so
trying
proud
to
of
achieve and
you.
that we're hearing. So
Did I see that
I
you're on your 10th or that or
11th.
okay,
Yeah.
yes.
This will
Congratulations.
be the 12th, so
yeah.
it'll
Yeah,
be
March
our
12th.
12th
Okay.
episode,
Yeah.
which is really fun.
Congrats. Like it's
Yeah.
not easy to stick with this. It's not like to have
No.
to keep going. It's, I'm sure you've hit a lot of roadblocks and have to figure it out. So, Sam,
Been
you are a
I
fun.
winner.
thank you. I feel very fortunate to do it with Lucy because we could not be more yin and yang. Like, we are so opposites, but so not, like, because we're best friends. But like, I get anxious and nervous about things, and Lucy's like, I have not even thought about that. Like, it's just like a really great balance. But that brings me to like the Looky Loo too with you. Like, you said your Chad's like was once a founder, and then 3 days later he decided, which I would have so many questions for you, what it would be like to work with a husband. But is it like is it just been you? Like, how have you been just keeping that for the past 2 years? Like, obviously there's more to it than just you, but is it kind of like me, myself, and I doing this?
Okay, so I don't know you're in Kyle's situation a little bit, but like you come up with this and like he's not out there like doing all of the work himself, right? He has you at home like rah-rahing and helping him work. So I would say it's like maybe similar to that. Like so I would say it's 95% me, and then because I have the business background, I have the passion, I'm the mom, I'm kind of the face of it, all of those things, and it doesn't bring him as much joy as it brings me. And I think that's what we ultimately came to, because sometimes I'd be like, like, can you just like help me make an Instagram post, or things that he's the creative, so sometimes I'd be like, can you just like, I don't know, help me with this email or whatever. And he would just get a little overwhelmed. And then we kind of realized like it doesn't bring him joy. Like it brings
Mhm.
me joy to do. So it felt like work for him. Yet when he sees it bringing me joy, like it's so fun for him to help support. Or like we've kind
Yeah.
of found a few areas that he loves doing. So he loves doing the shipping. So he does all the shipping. And he does
Oh,
all the
Great.
handling of the like packages. And then you've seen some of our Instagram. We've been going to conferences, which he loves being like behind the scenes in conferences and helping. So he likes to do the things with his hands and like
Yeah.
do that kind of stuff. And we just kind of find different roles throughout it. So
okay.
actually, I'm going to take that back. Maybe it's not fair to say I do 90% of it, but I do the majority of the leading and like direction of it. And then he'll kind of help where I need him to do.
I find your social media so inspiring. I did
Yeah.
completely
Same.
stalk your entire Looky Loo Instagram, and I was like, I call it it's my research, but you're really good at it. Like, I want to know, are there like 500 takes before you post that Instagram? Because you're very natural, you're witty, you're like, I don't know. I found like your pumpkin patching ones are hilarious. Like, I don't know. I think I'm impressed that is you behind the scenes, because I think I don't know, you're really good at it.
I needed to hear that. I have not seen your TikToks, but I'm sure I can say right back at you. Yeah, I don't like Sam. I'll have to follow your TikToks and get your advice on them. But I think at the end of the day, all like my I have a rule for myself, which is like stop scrolling because I'd be like, oh, what that girl did was so cute. Like I
Yeah.
should do that, and then I would try to do that, and it would just like fall flat, and I would look at it and cringe, and I'd be like, "That's not me." So the stuff where I'm just like, be as authentic as possible, which to me is like being sarcastic and like somewhat making fun of myself that I created like a baby selfie stick basically, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
then that's the only way I can really show up and like feel good about it, you know?
I love that. Okay, Kaitlyn, what are your like non-negotiables for yourself during a week? Because this is something we love to ask our guests because you're doing 3 million things in a day. But
Mhm.
I'm curious, like, what do you make sure is like for yourself?
Oh, this is top of mind because this is my day to day where the kids were at school. Chad's actually on a business trip. So I had the like house to myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so productive. And guess what? I was not. I like lounged around. I like scrolled a little bit longer than I should have. I was like supposed to get all this Looky stuff done. My house is a mess. And I was like, you know what? There's no day that is unproductive. Like, do not tell myself that rhetoric where even when I rest, that is productive. And I'll just say to myself, I needed that rest today. Like I needed to be like not get anything done on my to-do list. And that's okay. And I would say that's my like 40-year-old self talking now, where all of a sudden I'm like,
Love
stop
that.
beating yourself up. Like, so my non-negotiable now is being like, you need a rest, you rest. Like whatever your day looked like was a productive day.
I
Wow.
need that
Okay.
needle pointed on a pillow. I'm gonna
Yes.
put it here in my
Yes.
I
office.
can't wait to turn 40. Oh my gosh. And then what does like your we kind of talked about it with your work and stuff, but what does your system look like in the day to day? Like I'm so fascinated by logistics. You have 2 kids. You're doing Looky Loo. You said school. So I'm assuming both are full time in school. Like, do you have outside help that gets you kind of going? Like you said Chad's traveling. Like I had to hire a babysitter. Now that they're in school, do you kind of just fit it in during the working or their school hours, I guess you could say?
So you're meeting me at an interesting time. So for all of motherhood, for the last 6 years of motherhood, I have been 9 to 5, jump off the computer, dinner, bath, bedtime lasts like 8:30, and then jump back online. Try to shut it off by 10 p.m., 10:30 because I get up at 6 a.m. to work out, which is always my non-negotiable because I am like, and Sam, I don't know if you can relate to this, Lucy. I'm sure you work out too, but like I will be in a bad mood if I don't work out. It's not necessarily because of
Yeah.
like, whatever.
Scary mommy.
So that was like Kaitlyn for the first 6 years of motherhood, and my, like, day-to-day there would be, like, I had to delegate. I had to delegate, and I had to let stuff drop to the floor, and my house was gonna be a mess. I would never be the girl that you could, like, go for a walk on or be the one that would, like, bring the most beautiful charcuterie board to a party. Like, "No, no, no. We're hopping by Whole Foods on the way there, and, like, I will show up with, like, a paid item." Oh, and I'll, like, say this, Lucy. At one point in my career, met with a mentor in tears, being like, I can't do this. I can't keep climbing the ladder. I can't competing with all of these like, single bros who have all these hours to work at, whatever. And
Mhm.
then I'm the one, have to take 3 hours off in the evening to do bedtime and stuff. And she was like, I have one tip for you. Whatever your house cleaner's hours are, double them. And I was like, "What?" And then she was like, "Double your house cleaner hours and it'll solve all your problems." And I was like, "Okay." So all that to say, I like,
That's
whatever your
amazing
budget is
advice.
for like house cleaning, just up it because you need the
You
help.
can't
Like
do
whether
it.
it's just like
Yeah.
yeah,
I
you
love
can't
that
do it.
advice.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
You
why are
can't
you
do
doing
it.
laundry? Why or whatever it is that you're like, this does not serve me and my time would be better served either like whatever your other priorities are, like see if you can delegate. Anyway, that was the first 6 years of motherhood. Now my day to day is different. Like now it's like I'm kind of diving more into the entrepreneurial stuff, which is the wild west. And
Yeah.
I every day I have to sit and be like, where should I spend my time today? Because it's so hard to get sucked into like, okay, let me do social media. Well, that only turned into a sale. Okay, well, let me do email marketing. Ooh, okay, well, that hit 10 sales today, but only 5 the next day. So it's just like constantly trying to figure out the dials of where you put your time and energy because it's a lot of trial and error right now. Anyway, all that to say, yes, my kids are in school. I usually do Looky Loo during the day and then try to spend as much time with them, like from like 4 p.m. on. And we don't have help right now. So that is like something we're also trying to figure out and balance and do it all.
Never ending question.
I know.
Yeah.
We love talking
Yeah.
about childcare and how we have it's hard. It's
It's
so
so
hard.
hard. And as someone who dealt with the working mom guilt for the last 6 years, I like being around my kids right now, and I'm, like, relishing in it, and I know that won't last forever, but this moment in time right now, I'm like, I love having a little bit extra space for my family, which feels so nice, and that's one of the beauties of entrepreneurship.
I love
Yeah.
that. Oh,
We like
amazing.
to joke on here of what like your scale is from Sam to Lucy. Sam does not have Sam does
Of
not have
mom
any
guilt.
mom guilt. Yeah. We I don't know what happened. I don't really have a lot
She
of
doesn't
it.
have it. Nope.
She-
She's like
I
the
always
Tin Man. There's
I
just
always
no heart.
I always try to have it and then Lucy's like, "Yeah, no, just stop. You don't have it." Lucy has a lot of it. So you kind of mentioned mom guilt. I'm sure it's changed based off of what you just explained to us. But where do you kind of land in that where you have to maybe miss something because of work or you're gone because of work, like that kind of stuff? Where are you
Yeah.
at with that?
So this is an interesting podcast to do at the point of life that I am, like so up until August, I was, like I said, a corporate career woman where I not only was just working, but maybe Lucy can feel this way too, like not just working, but trying to advance myself. And I've worked really, I have an MBA, I was like, I am here to win it. Anyway, my mom guilt was off the chart, off the chart. And now I'm probably at the bottom of the chart because I am available and I am at the school functions and I'm like signing up for everything right now. I'm like, oh, like, you need to volunteer for that? Like, I'll be there. I'll do that because it's all the things I looked
Yeah.
at for years being like, oh my gosh, if only I had time to go to whatever that school event is. But Lucy, I'll tell you this. So I, longed for it, pined for it, felt horrible, thought I was like, I could enter all the rhetoric that was going through my
Mhm.
head at certain times. And now guess what? I show up at those volunteer reading hours at the school and I look around and I'm like, where are the other moms? I thought this is where everyone was hanging out. Like I just thought everyone was like going for coffee and walk, like looking all cute all day long. I don't know where they are. So there's like you
That's
weren't missing out.
so
We're missing out
funny.
on what I thought we were.
Well, that's really ironic that you say that because the kids had a jogathon several weeks ago now, and I did volunteer for like the 30 minutes to like to wave the flags or whatever for the kids. And afterwards, yeah, it was like everyone was gone. All the parents left and like went about their day. And I texted a few of the moms after, and I was like, next year I'm gonna take the day off of jogathon and we're gonna go get like a boozy brunch after. I'm like, hold me to that because in a year I'm never gonna remember this, and there's no way I'm taking the day off. So I'm
Yeah,
just
no, next year is gonna be like that silly 9 a.m. meeting that you think is so important, but
I
it's
know.
not, you know?
I know.
Yeah,
So funny.
it's so much
Well, we are so thankful for your time. I think Sam has one fun little game for
I
you
would just like
to
a little this
end.
or that. And then I
great.
would love to know like while I'm finding it, like what's next for Looky Loo? Like what
And
are
where
the
can we
big
find it? Where
yeah,
can we
like what
direct
are
people to it?
I'm really focused on this holiday season. Thanks for asking. We have a little book that I wrote to go along with Looky Loo.
I
So
love that you wrote that
Cute.
too.
we also this is our original book, but we also wrote
Yeah,
the
I
holiday
saw that.
book and so yeah, so I think it's like a great little holiday gift. It's after my daughter was always really shy at like holiday gatherings or Santa or like Christmas lights. And so you bring like little Looky Loo along. He's like your little friend. You can smile and wave at him and he makes you feel brave. Anyway, so right now I'm just really focused on getting Looky Loo to a point where it's either just like more on rails. My goal is to hit profitability by the end of this quarter for the holidays. And then I'm going to make like a bigger decision in January, being like, does this thing have enough steam in it for it to like really carry me and like, make enough money to pay the bills? Or do we just like continue make it a little side hustle? I do think Looky Loo should have some siblings, like maybe some different colors, like
Mhm.
I
I
don't
was
know, maybe
just
like,
about to ask what's your innovation pipeline
oh,
looking like
Yeah, I
to the
love
extent
it.
you want to tell people about it.
well, everyone always asks, like, do you have different animals? And I wish I could say yes, but that's the most expensive part is like making it in the mold. But to do different colors is cheaper. So yeah, so I think that's like where
So
I'm really
exciting.
just trying to focus on like getting the awareness out of Looky Loo right now because I think everyone that hears it, like you guys have kids, you're like, oh yeah, duh, like
Great.
easy, like put it in my
Great.
Amazon cart, no big deal. But I want more people to know about it. So I'm trying to work on the awareness part of it right now. So the
Top
lookyloo.com.
of funnel. Let's do it.
Yes,
Let's get your brand awareness
lookyloo.com.
going.
Well, I
Yeah,
loved again, my research
you
was
guys
just
market it.
basically stalking you on Instagram and all of the things, and I saw that you were on that Amazon show, so I watched it, which was wonderful. But then you did like a recap on your stories where you were talking about the experience, and I loved so much that you were like, and correct me because I'm putting your words in my mouth, but I looked out at the audience and like none of them were moms. And that was like so apparent to me when I watched it because I was like, every single one of those moms would have been like, I have older kids, but I know someone pregnant. That's for them. And I could hear your frustration in that because every mom would love a Looky Loo. So,
Thank you, Sam.
okay, starting off just straightforward coffee or tea.
Coffee.
And what's your order? I'm so obsessed with people's coffee orders.
Oh, my order black, just always black, and that
Great.
came from my startup days when I was, like, too poor to have milk and, like or I was too lazy and like, just, meh, I couldn't bother with it, so black, and we have a ratio. Do you guys have a ratio? It's like a pour over machine,
Yes.
and that's it, black.
Amazing.
Do you prefer potty training or sleep training?
Oh, what an excellent question. Sleep training. Sleep
Oh,
training.
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Potty
prefer
training is the
yeah.
worst.
I'm potty training, I have some horror stories, and sleep training was just so important. Like, oh my gosh, as soon as you get over that hump, it is smooth sailing.
When you need recharged, are you an alone time girl or night out with friends?
Oh, I am such an alone time girl, and I've realized that more as I've gotten older. I'm a homebody. Like I love to just tinker around the house, which is funny because I'm extroverted. So I love people, but oh gosh, just tinkering when no one's home, it's amazing. Yeah, the best.
M Okay, well, this might I think you already kind of said this. When the kids are napping, but I don't think you have nappers anymore, do you?
No, I don't.
No. Okay, when they were nappers, were you a rest or get stuff done?
I was gonna say I miss when they napped because I would
I know.
nap. I literally would
You
be like,
would.
"Bye," like, just you hear the baby crying, "Whoops, nope, I'm gonna try to
Nope.
sleep a little bit more." I love
Yeah.
sleep. I love sleep. Like, come on, like, I mean, I know we're gonna do it when we're dead, but, like, let's, like,
Just a
normalize
little
some
bit
nap
now.
times.
Yeah.
Just give us a little
Sprinkle it
bit.
in.
Yeah. Do you prefer packing lunches or doing laundry?
Neither, but my job currently is packing lunches. Chad's is breakfast, and I have to pack the lunches, so I don't mind it. It's kind of we've gotten into a routine, so
Okay, we'll end with
Delegation.
this one. Do you prefer your kid to ask you, "Mom, watch this for the 50th time," or ask you, "Mom, why?" for the 50th time?
I think I prefer the mom watch this. My daughter's in her cartwheel era right now,
Ugh.
and yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm like, wow, that actually was a good cartwheel. Like, when they're little, you're like, wow, cool, awesome
Yes.
jump, but like now it's
Yes.
like, oh wow, that actually was a good jump. Good job.
Actually, love
Amazing.
that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaitlyn, for being on. This was
Yeah,
so,
this was
so
so fun.
fun. It was amazing to meet you, and we are wishing you all the success on Looky Loo
Right
in
back
the
at
world.
you. This was so fun. I think I'd emailed you like, I'm so excited because I felt like you guys were already my friends when I joined. And you
Thank
two
you.
really do have like beautiful banter. And I've loved like the chatter back and forth. And you can feel the
Thank you.
love and the differences between you two. And so it's been so fun. And I wish you all the best too.
Oh,
Thanks,
thank you. And then
Kaitlyn.
thank you. I don't know if you said where we find Looky Loo, just for the listeners.
TheLookyloo.com.
Mhm.
Also, thank you for your shout outs to my social media. You can definitely go on Instagram and find it
It's
Yeah,
there.
we'll
great.
link everything. We'll tag
Right.
you. We'll tag
And
Looky
you have
Loo.
some Taylor Swift on there, which could be another podcast for me.
my
Like
gosh.
We have
really.
so much to chat about. Come
So
come
much
to
to
Santa
chat
I'll
about.
let you
Barbara.
guys take that one solo.
Yeah,
No,
she's
Lucy,
not.
don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right. Right. Same. Okay, so lookyloo.com and then social
Amazon
media.
too, right?
Amazon, you can find it on Amazon or yeah.
Great. Okay.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank you
Thank
much.
so
you.
much. Have a good
Okay.
Bye.
night. Bye.
Bye.